Yo, what is up, YouTube? How is everyone doing? So basically, obviously, your boy decided to go on a live. It is the last day before we start our August upload streak, 30-day grind, and all that stuff. But anyways, first of all, before I even start the live, I want to point out, take a look at the stream layout. Like, holy, look at that. We got a brand new setup. You got my Instagram handle right there on the bottom. It says I am Tech Alpha. Go follow me if you haven't already. And then we got a drop a like little thingy. And then we got Tech Alpha on the top, along with the chat on the side. Obviously, none of you guys are chatting right now, but hold on. Let me just type something up in the chat and it should pop up on the screen. There you go. There you go. You guys see that? That's what we got. And then obviously I have this set up, and then you guys can you guys can see the viewer count on the top left. And then there's like a little snake thing that's going on as well. So that's another bonus on top of everything. We got Ben's washer that says notification gang. Thank you so much, man. Alex the super extreme gamer. Hello. Yo, Tushara, what is up, man? Hello. Thank you for joining, everyone. Okay. So the second view that we got right here is this. So let me just switch to show desktop, and basically now we got the same thing, but now you can see my screen. So basically what we're going to be doing with today's video is we're going to be reacting to a few videos or a few clips that I found quite funny. We got Anraj that says "We are the North, baby." This is actually my school link crew leader T-shirt, but obviously I'm using it because I don't care. But yeah, I saw a few clips online, I think on Instagram or somewhere. Basically, this guy, the Google CEO Sundar Pichai or whatever, he was getting grilled by Congress and he was getting asked ridiculous questions, and it was just funny. So I wanted to react to that. I didn't watch a lot of these videos. I didn't watch because I wanted to keep the reaction as pure as possible. And if we got Phoenix Media that says love from India, mate. Thank you so much, dude. What time is it for you right now? I tried to start the live stream early as possible, because I know the time zone is gonna be a bit of a problem if I start it late. So hopefully it's not too late for you right now. Anyways, we're gonna react to one of these shorter videos. So this one's under 8 minutes. So we're gonna take a look at that one, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, I just realized I gotta add the. Hold on. I gotta add the input thingy. Hold up, give me a second. Audio output capture, I believe. Default, we're gonna make it speakers. All right, let me see if you guys can hear this or
What
not.
this all means, plus some of the other highlights from today's hearings. I'm joined by Washington Post technology reporter Heather Kelly live in San Francisco.
You guys can hear that, right? Let me know if you guys can hear that. Alex the Supreme Extreme Gamer says Australia. Damn, you're all the way from Australia. That's what's up. Thank you so much for joining. Just let me know. Okay, you can hear it. Awesome. All right. We're gonna go with this one. There was an 8-minute one. Yeah, this one. We're gonna see what this one's about.
You swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the
Oh yeah, by the way, so last year we had a similar one where everyone was brought by Congress, especially like Mark Zuckerberg, but that was in person. But now, obviously because of the pandemic and all, everything is online or like live streamed. Phoenix Gamer says 9:48 p.m. here. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's like roughly 2 hours difference, I guess. Okay, we're gonna get started.
testimony you are about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, whoa, let's look at these guys. So we got Jeff Bezos. So we got the Amazon CEO. We got Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook CEO. This guy's, I feel bad. He gets grilled so often. And then we got Sundar Pichai. I think the Google CEO since 2004. I'm not sure. And then we got Tim Cook, Apple CEO, and these guys are the biggest tech giants in the world. So this is gonna be pretty fun. Alex, the Super Extreme Gamer says 12. So you got 9. Okay, how do I say that? 12:19 a.m. I guess in the morning. Damn. Okay, that's a pretty big difference. So that's like a 12-hour difference
Let the
compared to
record
mine.
show the witnesses answered in the affirmative. Thank you, and you may remain seated.
The CEOs of America's biggest tech companies have officially been grilled.
Grilled. I'm about to see what
Jeff
happens.
Bezos, Sundar Pichai, Mark Zuckerberg, and Tim Cook appeared in front of Congress to face questions from the House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee. This has been in the works for more than a year, and the committee had just one thing in mind:
I want to skip this part. I want to go straight to the questions. Oh, it's about to start.
interrogating some of the biggest companies in America about just how much power they hold. There were questions on everything from anti-competitive behavior and bullying tactics.
Yeah, so from the Instagram live thingy, the Instagram clip that I saw, the biggest question Sundar was asked was basically, are you guys anti-competitive? Do you guys steal content and basically force other competitors out of Google? That was basically the question that this guy was getting grilled with. I have no idea what they're gonna ask Apple.
To censorship and American values. But the CEOs had just one message: they're not too big.
Our services are about connection, and our business model is advertising, and we face intense competition in both. Many of our competitors have hundreds of millions or billions of users. In many areas, we're behind our competitors.
But the committee wasn't willing to let these four men off too easy, and they came prepared with plenty of emails and testimony from small businesses that claim they're being squeezed out. The hearing got pretty fiery, and not just with the CEOs.
You do not have the time. Please be respectful of your
when
colleagues.
someone
She
directly-
controls
directly-
the time.
Put your mask on. Put your mask on.
Mr. George.
Now I'm going to break
Holy,
down 6
it got
hours
pretty
of
heated.
testimony for you in just
Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream. That means a lot if you guys are enjoying the stream so
a
far.
couple of minutes, starting with Amazon. Now, it was Jeff Bezos' first appearance in front of Congress, and they didn't go too easy on him. He was grilled about how Amazon promotes its own products.
Are these guys not going to show like actual stuff, or or is she explaining the whole thing? I don't want to see her explain the whole thing. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. All right, we're gonna find a different video. CNET, that sucks. Well, I can watch the whole stream. That's 6 hours. I can try to get through most of it. I want to see like a highlights video. That's kind of what I want to look at. Why Amazon's that could kill small. Okay, let's just take a look at Amazon's one first. You know what?
Mr. Bezos,
Let's see
in
what this
July
is
2019, your employee, Nate Sutton, told me under oath in this committee that Amazon does not, quote, use any specific seller data when creating its own private brand product. So let me ask you, Mr. Bezos, does Amazon ever access and use third-party seller data when making business decisions? And just a yes or no will suffice.
Hold on. First of all, before Jeff even answers that question, I think they fully have rights to do that. Like if a seller is on the Amazon platform, I think Amazon has 100% rights to go through that data and tweak Amazon's own products. Like you should be thankful Amazon is even letting you be on the platform. Don't you think? I don't know. It doesn't seem anti-competitive to me.
Thank you for the question. I know it's an important topic, and I also want to thank you for representing us. I can't answer that question yes or no. What I can tell you is we have a policy against using seller-specific data to aid our private label business, but I can't guarantee you that that policy has never been violated.
Mr. Bezos, you're probably aware.
This guy's smart. Like, did you see the way he answered that question? Yo, Dark Wolf says, Iota, how are you doing, man? This guy's smart. He actually said, like, I can't give a yes or no, because a lot of these questions, like, the Congress expects them to give, like, a yes or no answer, really super definitive, which is hard, especially because the questions are so vague, right? And surprisingly, I didn't think he'd say this part, but he even said, there is a policy that we can use it, but he can't guarantee if they haven't violated it, which is weird for him to admit publicly.
An April 2020 report in the Wall Street Journal revealed that your company does access data on third-party sellers, both by reviewing data on popular individual sellers and products, and by creating tiny product categories that allowed your company to categorically access detailed seller information in a supposedly aggregate category. Do you deny that? report?
I'm familiar with the Wall Street Journal article that you're talking about, and we continue to look into that very carefully. I'm not yet satisfied that we've gotten to the bottom of it, and we're going to keep looking at it.
Okay.
Dark Wolf says you live in USA. No, Canada.
To do as you would think, because some of the sources in the article are anonymous, but we continue.
Isn't it kind of funny how he's one of like the biggest, what do you call tech CEOs, and like his webcam and live stream is super low quality. I find that kind of amusing. What do you call? Let's see. Gnana Prakash says, "Hi guys, yo, what is up, dude?" Sparkplug says, "I live in Brampton. What is up, man?" Hey everyone, what is up? What is up?
I'll take that as you're not denying that. You're looking into it. I will tell you, a former Amazon employee in third-party sales and recruitment told this committee, quote, "There's a rule, but there's nobody enforcing or spot checking. They just say, don't help yourself to the data. It's a candy shop. Everyone can have access to anything they want." Do category managers have access to non-public data about third-party products and businesses?
Obviously, I think so.
Here's what I can tell you. We do have certain safeguards in place. We train people on the policy. We expect people to follow that policy the same way we would any other. It's a voluntary policy. As far as I'm aware, no other retailer limits their use of data at all.
There's no actual enforcement. There's no actual enforcement of that policy. So it's voluntary and there's no actual enforcement. So maybe that answers my...
Sorry. No, I think I may have misspoke. I'm trying to say that the fact that we have such a policy is voluntary. I think no other retailer even has such a policy.
Okay. Well,
our
that's
enforcement of that policy. We would treat that like any internal policy, and if we found that someone violated it, we would take action against them.
Well, there's numerous reports, and the committee has conducted interviews with former employees who confirm that there are employees who do have access to that data and are using it. And so my next question was going to be if you...
She's so vague. Like, what are they using it for? Like, are they using it for their personal gain, or are they using it for Amazon's personal gain? What are they really using for? She doesn't clarify that properly. So like, he can't even give you an answer on that. And he already said that there is a policy. Like, what more can you do? Like, every company has a policy. Every company has policies, right? Like, even Walmart, whatever, right? But do you really think these Walmart employees care about every single policy? Obviously not, right? There's obviously going to be people who break it. So if a report writes about employees using data that is not public, well, what is he going to do? Like, he's trying his best to... He's already put out a policy that most retailers don't have. Like, why are people so unappreciative? I mean, I get it. They're a big tech company. They're already in so much power, but you don't have to villainize them, like, at least to this degree.
You were actually enforcing these rules. Do you think that that's working? And again, I would just say that there's credible reporting that's documented breaches of these rules that you have put into place. And the committee has interviewed employees that typically say that these breaches typically occur. Let's talk about aggregate data for a minute. Your rules do allow for you to access combined data on a product when there are only one or two sellers in the marketplace, correct?
So aggregate data is basically like not individual data sets. So basically, essentially what aggregate data is, like categorized data almost. So that if you observe aggregate data, you won't be able to identify and pinpoint where the data is coming from. So you will never have access to if you're looking at customer data sets, you will never have access to the individual customer information. You'll more likely have like a generalized overview of like customers. So aggregate data should not be an issue. If they're taking a look at discrete data, that makes a difference, because now discrete data is actually giving you access to personal information of customers.
Yes, aggregate data is allowed under our policies. That is correct.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Interviews
I think so.
with former employees have made it clear that aggregate data essentially allows access to highly detailed data in those product categories. There's the
No.
example of Fortem, a small business that had no direct competitors except for Amazon Warehouse Deals, a resale clearance account that only sold 17
RK17,
units.
what is up? RK17, I see you, man. Yo. Jayesh Patel, hey, man, what is up? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much.
An Amazon employee accessed a
If you guys haven't already, please do drop a like on the stream. That means a lot. Appreciate it. We're trying to hit
sales
about 10
report
likes at
on
least.
Fortem's product with information
Yo, the editor X, I see you, man.
on how much the company spent on advertising per unit and the cost to ship each trunk. And then Amazon launched its own competing products in October 2019. That's a major loophole, and I go back to the general counsel's statement to this committee very clearly that there was no access to this data, that Amazon does not use that data.
All right, just to put something into perspective, thank you so much, RK17. Just to put something into perspective, what this lady is going at is that, okay, so they're looking into individual data sets that are gathered through third-party sellers, all right? And what she's saying is that data should not be within their within access, and that data should not be used to cater or curate their products, right? But what doesn't make sense is she's not doing the same thing to Walmart, because we all know Walmart's doing the same thing. Like, Walmart is a retailer that sells mostly other people's products, but they also have their own private label products, right? Their Walmart Great Value brand and whatnot, right? So what do you really think that Walmart never ever looks at competitors and learn from that? No, obviously they do, right? So
Data for its own
they're just
benefit. And
being
I'm now
picky
hearing you
about what
say, well,
Amazon
you're not so
is.
sure that that's going on. And the issue that we're concerned with here is very simple. You have access to data that far exceeds the sellers on your platforms with whom you
Jayesh
compete.
Patel, thank you so
can
much for
track
subscribing, man.
consumer
That means a
habits,
lot to me.
Interests, even what consumers clicked on but then didn't buy. You have access to the entirety of sellers' pricing and inventory information, past, present, and future, and you dictate the participation
Hold on,
of
she
third-party.
said past, present, and future. How? Like, sure, they can look at previous pricing history, like if a product's changed their pricing from like high to low or whatnot, they can see the current pricing. She said past, present, and future. How in the world is Amazon going to be able to predict the future pricing that these companies are going to put? Like, I could be an Amazon seller and my product could be selling for $10 a pop, and then tomorrow I could want to sell it for 20. But how in the world is Amazon going to know that? What the heck is she saying?
Party sellers on your platform.
Yo, Jaden and Manu, I see you, man. Thank
So
you for
can
tuning
set
in.
the
Make
rules
sure
of
you
the game
like
for
the
your
stream, bro.
competitors, but not actually follow those same rules for yourself. Do you think that's
I'm doing
fair
good,
to the
man.
mom and
How are
pop
you?
Third-party businesses who are trying to sell on your platform?
I appreciate that question, and I like it a lot because I really want a chance to address that. I'm very proud of what we've done for third-party sellers on this platform. We started our third-party platform 20 years ago, and we had 0 sellers on it.
The question
eBay
I'm
was-
asking.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Alex Super Extreme Gamer says reach 10 likes. Did we? It still says 9 for me. Maybe it's glitched. Jaden, thank you so much for liking it, dude. You're just chilling. Yeah, we're taking a look at the Congress cringy questions and reacting to it. It's pretty hilarious, if you ask me.
I'm
Giant
sorry.
one.
I'm so sorry.
And
My
I'm
time
sorry,
is
go ahead. I didn't-
expiring, and
Did you see what she asked the question for like 3 minutes straight, and then the moment this guy starts answering, she says, "I'm sorry, my time's running out." What the heck?
the question I wanted to ask you is that you have access to data that your competitors do not have. So you might allow third-party sellers onto your platform, but if you're continuously monitoring the data to make sure that they're never going to get big enough that they can compete with you, that is actually the concern that the committee has. And, you know, I think your company started in my district. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for the work that you've done, and say that the whole goal of this committee's work is to make sure that there are more Amazons, that there are more Apples, that there are more companies that get to innovate and small businesses get to thrive. And that is what we're trying to get at. That is why we need to regulate these marketplaces so that no company has a platform so dominant that it is essentially a monopoly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. This lady's actually quite open like open-minded, I guess you want to say, because she's actually appreciative of what Amazon has done for the ecom business, and she actually understands the thing, but she's just trying to, I guess, avoid a monopolistic market, basically, um, which I guess Amazon does kind of have access to, but it's a little it's a little ignorant to ignore all brick and mortar retailers because they also have a similar, like, bro, Walmart is obviously being monopolistic in certain ways that hurts and hinders small businesses as well, right? Like, it's not Amazon only that's doing it, it's just new so that they want to pick on it. um what other games do you play? I don't know, I was thinking maybe I might start playing Overwatch on stream sometimes, but I don't know, dude. It's hard to pick a game and play it because my channel isn't based on games. So I could play a game and there could be a few of you guys that like it, but there's gonna be a ton of you guys that don't like it, right? So it's gonna be hard for me to pick a specific game. But I play Overwatch every once in a while. All right, I want to see what the Google one was the best one. The Google one is literally the best one. Uh, let's go to this one.
I will now recognize myself for 5
COD Mobile? Nah, I don't play COD, man. I'm sorry.
minutes. Mr. Bachai, over 85% of all online searches go through Google. Every online company in the United States depends on Google to reach users.
Okay.
A business may sink or swim based on Google's decisions alone. Numerous online businesses told us that Google steals their content and privileges its own sites in ways that profit Google but crush everyone else. Most businesses ask to stay anonymous.
You gotta understand, right? Here's the thing. Google or whatever these companies, they're not a government, right? They don't have to treat everyone equally. At the end of the day, they're a business on its own. So I feel that they have the right to obviously favor themselves a little bit because at the end of the day, they're a private corporation. They're looking out for their interest. These guys, like Congress, is asking them or is asking these big tech companies to treat everyone equally and act as a regulator. But that's not what these guys want. These guys want to be a dominating business. That's their goal. That's why they started. If they would have been a government if they wanted to treat everyone equally and rise with everyone together. That's not their goal. Their goal is to make the most money they can and to grow their business, right? At the end of the day, you gotta, whether you like it or not, you gotta understand that, like, these guys are businesses. They're looking out for themselves. Your Fortnite video was the video that made me to subscribe to your channel. That was my favorite video. Really? Dude, I was thinking if I should do a 2020 remake of that because I've seen, like, recently over the past few months people commenting on my video saying, does this still work in 2020? Should I can you make a 2020 update and whatnot? So I don't know. Should I make a 2020 update? Who knows? I might. Maybe. We'll see.
Retaliate against them.
By the way, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream. That means a lot if you guys could do that.
After Google's decision, traffic to his website dropped by 80%. He had to downsize his business and lay off half his staff. He told us, and I quote, "If someone came to me with an idea for a website or a web service today, I tell them to run as far away from the web as possible. Launch a lawn care business or dog grooming business, something Google can't take away as soon as he or she is thriving." So
that's an over exaggeration, obviously.
Why does Google steal content from honest businesses?
That's so vague. That's so vague. Like, what content, man? What content? Like, content is like literally anything. Like, content could literally be referencing data. Content could literally be talking about the individual, like even the pictures and videos these businesses take. It could be the articles or any descriptions these guys write. Like, so vague, man. It's like they're fishing for
with respect,
mistakes.
I disagree with that characterization. Just last week, I met with many small businesses. In fact, today we support 1.4 million small businesses, supporting over $385 billion in economic activity. We see many businesses thrive, particularly even during the pandemic. Businesses, an example, Kettle Kings in Texas, which sells kettlebells. They've really expanded.
I have a limited amount of time, so I don't want to interrupt you, but my question is very specific. We heard throughout this investigation that Google has stolen content to build your own business. These are consistent reports. And so Your testimony that doesn't happen is really inconsistent with what we've learned during the course of the investigation. But I'll move on to a new question. Mr. Pichai, most Americans believe that when they enter a search query, that what Google shows are the most relevant results.
Yeah, based on relevancy,
Increasingly,
right?
Google just shows whatever is most profitable for Google, be it Google Ads or Google's own
See, once
site.
again, like, bro, okay, sure, the most correct thing, the most righteous thing to do would be to show what's most relevant, right? That would be a neutral network. But at the end of the day, Google is a business that runs on an advertising business model. Google essentially is not a software company, is not a video company, is not a content creation, content media, whatever company. No. If you look at the roots of it, what their business falls back on, what their business is sustained off of, is advertising. That is their main source of income. That is how they thrive, right? YouTube advertising, Google ads, they have all those advertising platforms that generate revenue. If it wasn't for these revenue sources, how would they offer new services, offer new features, offer all sorts of support and free services? There has to be a way for them to make money. They can't make everything for free because Google essentially is a free service, a free search engine. YouTube is essentially a free platform, right? They can't offer Gmail and all these other Google Drive and free stuff for like nothing, right? They have to make money somewhere. And advertising is obviously their way to cover the cost. And if you do a search and your first 2 to 3 results, I guess, are paid results and the rest are relevant, then what are you complaining about? Just ignore the top 3 if you don't want to. But like people actually enjoy, well, not enjoy, but people actually do find it useful to see search results that are paid because then they can easily buy products. Because when you're buying products, it's obviously easier to just see paid results. And the other thing is by having the option to become by having the option to pay for search results is not only a good thing for certain customers, but is also now making it easier for small businesses to drive traffic to their businesses. Right? So in a way, by Google offering paid search results, it's helping small businesses. So I don't know.
So my question, Mr. Pichai, isn't there a fundamental conflict of interest between serving users who want to access the best and most relevant information and Google's business model, which incentivizes Google to sell ads and keep users on Google's own sites?
I don't think that's the point of selling ads. It's not to keep them on the
Always
site.
focus on providing users the most relevant information, and we rely on that trust for users to come back to Google every day. In fact, a vast majority of queries in Google, we don't show ads at all, and we show ads only for a small subset of queries where the intent from users is highly commercial. For example, they may be looking for something like TV sets or so on.
But Mr. Pichai,
So-
what is the value of
RK17.
the part?
All right, we just hit 60 individual playback, so 60 unique viewers. Shout out. We got 5 concurrent viewers right now. Shout out. 10 likes. Shout out. Thank you so much, guys. And we're actually having one of the all-time highest average watch time. So thank you so much for that, guys. If you haven't already, drop a like and whatnot. Oh, my bad. Whoopsies. Okay. It's back. It should be back. It should be back. There we go. There we go. My apologies. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that one of these days. But my thing keeps turning off.
You do use the Google ads for? I mean, it's a substantial part of your business. What's the actual value? 200 billion, 300 billion?
In terms of revenue, it's around $100 plus billion. But
That's a lot of money, Mr. Pichai. Let me move on. Really, Mr. Pichai, it's Google's business model.
They don't
that
give
is
them
the
time to
problem.
answer.
Our documents show
Like they just ask the question. They ask like a really long question that's like 2 minutes long, and then they expect the guy or the CEO, I guess, to give an answer in like 30 seconds, which is quite unreasonable if you ask me.
Show that Google evolved from a turnstile to the rest of the web to a walled garden that increasingly keeps users within its sites.
I don't
Emails show that
know.
over a decade ago, Google started to fear competition from certain websites, web pages that could divert search traffic and revenue from Google. These documents show that Google staff discussed the proliferating threat, is how it was described, that these web pages pose to Google. Any traffic lost to other sites was a loss in revenue. One of Google's memos observed that certain websites were getting, and I quote, too much traffic. So Google decided to put an end to that. Mr. Pichai, you've been at Google since 2004. Were you involved in these discussions about the threat from vertical search?
You got to look at it like this, right? Even Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, they have their own like suite of products, right? And obviously they want customers or users to stay within that product line, right? Because essentially it one, okay, the obvious reason is like obviously puts more money in their pocket, right? Their business, so it's not a big deal. It's not a surprise that they want to make money. But I think, in my opinion, more importantly, uh, it basically gives it basically gives them more access to catering. How do I say it? Gives them more freedom with like optimization, I guess. Because if you think about it from an Apple standpoint, it makes sense. Because like if they own a MacBook, now and if they also buy a iPhone, it's easy to pair the two together. It's easy for them to work side by side and whatnot, right? So there's benefits to the user as well if they own similar company products. And obviously, from a business standpoint, it brings them more money. I don't think it's really wrong to want that.
Congressman, without knowing the specifics, I'm not fully clear of the context, but definitely when we look at vertical searches, it validates the competition we see. For example, when users come looking to shop
Wow.
online, independent studies show that over 55% of product searches originate with Amazon and
Hold up.
over 70% originate with the major e-commerce companies. In the few categories which are commercial in nature, we see vigorous competition, be it travel, be it real estate, and we are working hard.
Well, let me ask very
users
specifically,
to
Mr.
innovate
Pichai.
that.
The
11
evidence
likes,
that
let's
we
go.
collected shows that Google pursued a multi-pronged attack. First, Google began to steal other web pages' content. For example, in 2010, Google stole restaurant reviews from Yelp to bootstrap its own rival local search business.
Okay. So that one's a little iffy. Okay, so far I've been totally on like the tech company side, but this one is, I'm sorry, pretty weird, pretty sketchy. They shouldn't have done that. They basically took all the reviews from Yelp and rebranded it as Google reviews, which is pretty sketchy
Mr.
to do.
Pichai, do you know how Google responded when Yelp asked you to stop stealing their reviews? Well, I'll tell you, our investigation shows that Google's response was to threaten to delist Yelp entirely. In other words, the choice Google gave Yelp was let us steal your content or effectively disappear from the web. Mr. Pichai, isn't that
Prakash is like, that's cringy? Yeah, dude. A lot of these questions are quite cringy. This last one was probably the only valid one, in my opinion, but a lot of these questions have been pretty cringy.
anti-competitive?
You can tell the CEOs are actually cringing inside.
Congressman,
But he's
when I
keeping a
run the
straight
company,
face, obviously.
I'm really focused on giving users what they want. We conduct ourselves to the highest standard. Happy to engage, understand the specifics, and answer your questions further.
Thank you. And just one final series of questions, Mr. Pichai. Did Google ever use its surveillance over web traffic to identify competitive threats?
Yes, obviously.
Congressman, just like other businesses, we try.
Obviously, like Sundar's not gonna say like admit to that, I guess. But basically, what he's asking is, have you used like your data that you've basically, how do I say this? You've cultivated the data from search results and blah 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 to see trends and arising competitors, right? And basically, if you see an arising competitor, companies like this usually end up sending them like a offer for them to for an acquisition, or they basically try to get on top of their game and beat them, right? I don't think from an outside standpoint, I don't have access to whatever these reports the Congress is referring to, but from an outside standpoint, I highly, highly doubt they go out of their way to kick certain competitors out of the network completely. Like, I doubt they threatened Yelp and said, yo, we're going to kick you out of Google. That just seems extreme, and that just seems like it's taken straight out of a movie. I doubt something like that happened, but who knows, right?
Understand trends from data which we can see, and we use it to improve our products for our users. But we are really focused on improving our products, and that's how
I appreciate that, Mr. Pichai. Google's own documents and numerous interviews with companies affected by this conduct show that Google did just that. Which is very disturbing and very anti-competitive. In addition to stealing content, Google also began to privilege its own sites. An investigative report published just yesterday found that 63% of web searches that start on Google also end somewhere on Google's own websites.
Okay, so 63% of search results end on Google. Yeah, buddy, what is the biggest video platform? YouTube. So obviously, if they search for a recipe, although the content creator is a third party, like myself, for example, you're still technically on Google's site, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you search up for a recipe, if you search up for a how-to video, if you search up for news, no matter what you do, even if you search up for this Congress live video, you're gonna end up on YouTube, and YouTube is an entity of Google. So what's so wrong about ending up on a Google site? I don't think, like, it's not like they're putting a stop to Vimeo. It's not like they're putting a stop to Putlocker, all these other media platforms. It's just that they're not good enough, unfortunately. And if you guys just go here to like Google and click this, you can see all the Google services, right? You get, like, if you search for directions, more than likely you're gonna get Google Maps. If you search for like a video instructions, more than likely you're gonna get YouTube. If you I don't know, if you want to do a document, like if you search for a stock, you're more than likely gonna get a Google finance page. Like if I search for the infamous Tesla stock, you're gonna end up with the Google finance page. So what? So what's wrong with that? Like, it's easy information for people. It's just it's convenient. It's properly curated. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't think
To me, that's evidence that Google is increasingly a walled.
By the way, shout out to the 76 individual users that have clicked on the live stream. I appreciate that so much. And if you haven't already, go ahead and drop a like on the stream. That means a lot. And if you also want to follow me at I am Tech Alpha on Instagram, because I show a lot of behind the scenes stuff for you guys and whatnot. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
Garden, which keeps users on Google sites, even if Google doesn't have the most relevant information, and it's economically catastrophic for other companies online. And so my time is running out, but Mr. Pichai, I'll just end by saying the evidence seems very clear to me. As Google became the gateway to the internet, it began to abuse its power. It used its surveillance over web traffic to identify competitive threats and crush them. It has dampened innovation and new business growth, and it's dramatically increased the price of accessing users on the internet, virtually ensuring that any business that wants to be found on the web must pay Google a tax. And with that, I recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Mr. Sensenbrenner, for his first round of questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I've been in Congress for...
Wow. This guy basically asked the questions that were lengthy, barely gave enough time for Sundar to answer, and then just came out of nowhere and was like, oh, I'm running out of time, so let me make my own conclusion. And he basically concluded the statement saying, oh, I think I have enough information to conclude that you guys are now abusing your power. Dude, you didn't even give enough time for Sundar to answer the questions. Gnana Prakash says, you're extremely underrated, man. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. That means a lot. Let's look at this.
Gentlemen, yields back
gets grilled on copying Snapchat, but isn't that allowed though? Because basically, you're not allowed. Okay, there's a difference. So there's knockoffs, and then there's replicas. I think. Yeah, there's knockoffs, and then there's replicas. A knockoff is actually part of fair business because in a knockoff to you're allowed to mimic, I guess, the features of someone else. Uh, yeah, I think it's all part
I
of
now
fair
recognize the
use.
gentlelady from Washington, Ms. Jayapal.
Let's see what this guy says. So basically, so far we watched Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO. We watched Sundar Pichai, the Google CEO, and now we're taking a look at Mark Zuckerberg, the one of I think the youngest billionaire in the world at one point. And we're gonna take a look at what he has to say about at least on his thoughts and what he has to say about Snapchat giving
Mr.
inspiration
Chairman,
to them.
Mr. Zuckerberg, in March of 2012, you suggested by email to your management team that moving faster and copying other apps could, quote, prevent our competitors from getting footholds. Sheryl Sandberg responded that, quote, it is better to do more and move faster, especially if that means you don't have competitors build products that take some of our users. Facebook's management director added that, quote, I would love to be far more aggressive and nimble in copying competitors. Has Facebook ever taken steps to prevent competitors from getting footholds by copying competitors?
Congresswoman, I view it as our job to understand what people are finding valuable in all of the services that they use. And
So far,
certainly if someone
so far, Mark Zuckerberg has had the best webcam, I think. Jeff had the absolute potato camera. Sundar was okay, but this guy's camera is a little bit okay. That's like a 720p look, I feel.
Do you copy your competitors?
Congresswoman, we've certainly adapted features that others have let in, as have others copied and adapted features that
I'm not
that we
concerned
invented.
about others. I'm just asking you, Mr. Zuckerberg, since March of 2012,
That's so
after
ignorant,
that
man.
email
Holy.
conversation, how many competitors did Facebook end up copying?
That's irrelevant.
Congresswoman, I can't give you
Like, take it in. Like, if you look at the car, let's look at the car industry for a second, because it's kind of like outside of the tech space. When Toyota does something, right? For example, when Toyota adds a new standard safety feature, more than likely Honda is gonna do the same. They're gonna adapt to their competition. If Honda decides to add a certain feature, more than likely their equivalent competitor Toyota is gonna add a similar feature. That's not copying. That's just learning from each other and making sure that you're not getting left behind. Cause right, like it makes sense. These Congress people know absolutely nothing about tech. Exactly, man. Thank you so much. RNVRH Gaming and Tech Reviews. Thank you so much, man. You're so absolutely right. These guys have no idea, and to me, like that even isn't even a tech thing. Like that's in every industry. That's in every industry. You're allowed to look at your competitors and you're allowed to learn and improve your product. There's nothing wrong with that. Zuck's answers are irrelevant, really? Zuck is 100% known to dodge questions. I think Jeff was probably the most transparent with his answers. Yo, DS Edits, what is up? Just dropped in to say wagwan. Yo, dude, how are you doing, man? Yo, when are we doing that podcast? We gotta do that podcast soon.
Is it less than 5?
Congresswoman, I don't know.
Less than 50? Any estimates?
Yo, what do you call? Oh, you're like the woman at the woman. The woman is a Karen. Seok Slot World says hello. What is up, dude? Oh shoot, is that Seok? Yes, that is.
Team was making a plan. How did it play out?
Congresswoman, I'm not sure I agree with the premise here. Our job is to make sure that we build the best services for people to connect with all the people they care about. And a lot of that is done by innovating and by building new things that are leading the way internally.
Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg. Let me go on. Has Facebook
That's
ever
kind of rude he was actually trying to answer the question, and like she was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." I'm trying to move on. Like, bro, what?
To clone the products of another company while also attempting to acquire that company.
Congresswoman, not that I recall.
And I'd like to just remind you that you are under oath, and there are quotes from Facebook's own documents. Prior to acquiring Instagram, Facebook began developing a similar product called Facebook
Exactly.
Camera.
She's just cutting
correct?
off Zuck.
Congresswoman, that's correct. I've said multiple times that we
Yo, DSLS,
were
I see
competing in
you.
the space
Theo,
of
I see
building
you,
mobile
man.
cameras with Instagram. That's what they did at the time. Their competitive set was companies like what we were building with Facebook Camera and ViscoCam and PicPlease.
Thank you,
certainly
Mr.
competed with that.
Zuckerberg. Did you ever use this very similar Facebook Camera product to threaten Instagram's founder, Kevin Systrom?
Congresswoman, I'm not sure what you would mean by threaten. I think it was public that we were building a camera app at the time. That was a well-documented thing.
Let me tell you that in a chat, you told Mr. Systrom that Facebook was, quote,
Exactly.
developing.
They ask him a question and stop him answering in between. Exactly. They asked him like, "Oh, did you guys threaten the founder of Instagram about like some camera that you guys are developing or whatnot?" Right? Obviously now they've I think merged with or they bought Instagram or something along those lines, right? But like the guy was trying to answer saying like, "Oh, it wasn't a threat. It was like a public document that we were whatever." And she was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't need to answer." And she's moving on to the next question. It's almost like she has a script right there. She does, and she just wants to get over with her a list of questions. It's like she doesn't even care about what he has to say. She's already made up her mind that, oh, these guys are already the bad people. Exactly. Stop interrupting Zach when he's trying to answer your question.
Developing our own photo strategy, so how we engage now will also determine how much we're partners versus competitors down the line. Instagram's founder seemed to think that was a threat. He confided in an investor at the time that he feared you would go into, quote, destroy mode if he didn't sell Instagram to you. So let's just recap.
Okay, in all honesty, what it sounds like is the Instagram guy sold Instagram, and then he now realizes how big of a platform he sold for, I'm gonna guess, for a little amount of money. And now he's basically regretful of his decision, and therefore he's making statements and claims about how threatful or how aggressive Facebook was with negotiating their deal with Instagram. Sounds to me like a lot of regret and a lot of resentment from his end, and seems to me like he just wants to get a bigger piece of Instagram or something like that. I don't know.
Facebook cloned a popular product, approached the company you identified as a competitive threat, and told them that if they didn't let you buy them up, there would be consequences. Were there any other companies that you used the same tactic with while attempting to buy them?
Congresswoman, I want to respect
you guys are really going
the
off,
characterization. I think it was clear that this was a space that we were going to compete in one way or another. I don't view those conversations as a threat in any way.
I'm just using
she
the
does
document.
it again. She's doing it again. How am I supposed to watch this? Check this out.
This was a space
He's
that we
answering.
were going to compete in one way or another. I don't view those conversations as a threat in any way.
I'm just
there
using
again.
the documents and the testimony that the committee has collected from others. Did you warn Evan Spiegel, the founder of Snapchat, that Facebook was in the process of cloning the features of his company while also attempting to buy Snapchat?
Congresswoman, I don't remember those specific conversations, but that was also an area where it was very clear that we were going to be building something. People want to be able to communicate privately. They want to be able to communicate with all their friends at once. And we're going to make sure that we build the best products in all of the spaces that we can around helping people stay connected with the people they care about.
I appreciate that, Mr.
Did you notice that at the end he started speaking like super, super fast just because he knew like, oh, he was going to get interrupted by her. Check that out. Check that out. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny.
That we can around helping people stay connected with the people they care about.
Stay connected with the people that they care about. Like he finished it so fast because he was like, "Oh shoot, she's about to
I
interrupt me
appreciate that,
again."
Mr. Zuckerberg. I think the question again here is when the dominant platform threatens its potential rivals, that should not be a normal business practice. Facebook is a case study, in my opinion, in monopoly power because your company harvests and
Every year they question Zuckerberg and leave for next year. What's the point of questioning when there are no actions? That is true, dude. Like they've been questioning these guys for like since like 20, I don't know, but I've been keeping up with the Congress meetings since like 2018, I guess. And every year they ask basically the same questions. They ask Google, "Are you guys using user data in inappropriate ways? Are you guys what do you call being anti-competitive?" Similar questions all around, and they obviously aren't doing too much to stop it, right? By the way, if you guys haven't already, drop a like on the stream. That means a lot. I'm trying to hit 15 likes at least, and we have 89 unique viewers on the stream, so that means a lot, and 8 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much. Oh, that became 9. If Facebook's gonna buy Facebook, they obviously have to trial the features first to make sure the users get used to it. But Congress Karen thinks that is cloning. Shaking my head. Exactly. Seog's like LOL. Exactly. Like obviously they want to like test the features with their platform first, right? And then if things work out, they're obviously gonna pay for and buy the features, right?
monetizes our data, and then your
Yo, Pranzy plays. I'm kind of late, but I'm here. Thank you so much, man. It's okay as long as you're here. That's what matters. If you haven't already, do try to see if you can drop a like. That means a lot.
company uses that data to spy on competitors and to copy, acquire, and kill rivals. You've used Facebook's power to threaten smaller competitors and to ensure that you always get your way. These tactics reinforce Facebook's dominance, which you then use in increasingly destructive ways. So Facebook's very model makes it impossible for new companies to flourish separately, and that harms our democracy, it harms mom and pop businesses, and it harms consumers. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
So arrogant, man. Like, do you see that? Like, holy, look at that. She's like,
Back.
I'm done. I'm done with this. That's what she basically did. Why? Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry at a company that I guess has given small businesses a chance to grow, has given so many individuals around the world a chance to connect with people that they haven't obviously been able to connect with for a long time? Why are you looking at all the negative stuff? Why can't you appreciate them for once? You know what I'm saying? All right, I guess we're at the end of almost our stream. We're looking at the last
The gentlewoman.
we're looking at the last tech CEO, Tim Cook. Okay, so far we've had two congressmen and women, I guess. That lady, the one that kept interrupting answers, and then the other dude, I forgot, like the Hispanic looking guy. And then we got this dude. What Tim Cook has to say on app shutdowns. Actually, let's see if there's better topics regarding Tim Cook, because I don't know if that's the best one. Tim Cook defends Apple before Congress. Competition defines Apple. What Tim Cook has to say on app shutdowns. Okay. Which one should we go for? Look at this. 7 years ago, Rand Paul offended as Apple gets grilled. They've been doing this for 7 years and there's still no change. It's just another form of entertainment at this point. Shout out to 90 unique. We got 90 unique playbacks. That's crazy. Here he comes, Tim Cook. Yep. Welcome him on, guys. Welcome him on.
Ranking members Sensenbrenner and Jordan, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to offer testimony. Before I begin, I want to recognize the life and legacy of John Lewis.
As usual, it's, I think, another anti-competition question.
I join you in mourning not only a hero, but someone I knew personally, whose example inspires and guides me still. Every American owes John Proud and
Oh, he's not getting questioned.
share the
I don't want
committee's
to hear his
belief that
speech.
competition.
I want to see him getting grilled. But we're gonna have to watch this one.
And the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Macbeth, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cook, Facebook acquired WhatsApp in 2014.
Pranzi Play says, how did you get the GUIs on the screen? My friend Avery actually designed them on After Effects, and it's just basically a video MOV file, I think, that it just rendered out on After Effects, and it's just on the background. Yeah, and everything else is just placed on top of it. Prakash is like, every year they ask the same questions, and CEOs answering them be like, shit, here we go again. Yeah, the San Andreas thing, right?
And at that time, Sheryl Sandberg told the board that the deal was critical for countering the App Store power of Apple and Google, who choke off Facebook's access to mobile devices. Was Sheryl Sandberg correct? Does Apple have the power to exclude apps from the App Store?
If you look at the history of this Congresswoman, we've increased the number of apps from 500 to 1.7 million. So there's a very wide gate for the App Store, and there's fierce competition for developers, and we want every app we can on the platform.
Okay, so but Mr. Cook, then what you're saying is that Apple can exclude apps from the App Store. In fact, it has. In 2018, Apple introduced an app called Screen Time, which helps people limit the amount of time they or their kids spend on their iPhones. Is that correct?
It sounds right.
Okay, but before Screen Time existed, there were other apps in the App Store that gave parents control over their kids' phone usage. Apps like Our Pack.
Let me just say this right here. Whenever a stock application replaces a feature that was previously accomplished through third-party applications, it always, most of the time at least, does a better job. So if Screen Time is a natively built application, chances are it's going to perform better than whatever these third-party applications she's talking about. Okay? Seems like only Zuck and Cook can afford a better camera. True. Cook has a pretty good camera as well.
And parents depended on them. Soon after you introduced Screen Time, however, you removed these competing apps from the App Store. One mother wrote to Apple saying, and I quote her, "I am deeply disappointed that you have decided to remove this app and others like it, thereby reducing consumer access to much needed services to keep children safe and protect their mental health and well-being."
First of all, what kind of mother goes out of their way to email Mr. Cook? As the mom of 2 teenage daughters, I am deeply disturbed by the practices of technology companies firmly aimed at keeping people, including kids, hooked on apps and devices. As I am sure you're aware, dude, what kind of mom does that? A mom's plea. Like, bro, if this happens to me, my mom's taking away the phone. She's not gonna go decide to reply to what do you call Tim Cook, a CEO of a major a billion-dollar tech company. She's not gonna do that. What kind of Karen is this? CEO's like, bro, why are you leaving your parenting to tech companies? Exactly. I couldn't have said that better. Like she's saying that as if Tim Cook is responsible for what their children see on their phone. Like, no, that is not the case. Tim Cook, or Apple, I guess, is only responsible for giving you access to the internet and all sorts of technology, but they are no responsibility to make it appropriate for children. Oh my god, I gotta fix it again. Alright, should be fixed. Should be fixed. But yeah, it's so stupid. What makes you think that they're gonna parent your children? An iPhone, first of all, shouldn't even be looked at as a children's entertainment device. It's actually it's a utility for most individuals, right? What a parent, seriously, she should be taken to school one more time. Exactly. Congress needs to be educated by an outside source about how things work. Congress cannot be this far behind the timeline. Please tell me this woman knows something real. That is true. I feel like before these things, they should have like some sort of tech enthusiast, an engineer maybe, brought over and kind of explain the whole situation on how these apps really work. Because I feel like they're really, really misunderstood on how it truly works.
Mr. Cook, why did Apple remove competing apps right after you released
Whoa.
Screen Time?
Okay.
We were concerned, Congresswoman, about the privacy and security of kids. The technology that was being used at that time was called MDM, and it had the ability to sort of take over the kid's screen, and a third party could see it. And so we were worried about
I don't know
their
what's wrong with the
safety.
screen, by the way.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Today
that.
we have.
I appreciate that. But the timing of the removal.
See, that makes sense though, right? So basically what he's saying is, if you guys didn't get it, is there was a third party company doing the monitoring as if Screen Time was doing now, right? Apparently this lady, or not this lady, but like the lady who emailed and whatnot, have been using that thing to monitor their daughters, right? First of all, that's a red flag. You shouldn't be using apps to monitor your kids, but whatever. But Tim Cook is saying that they've allowed that application because they've allowed that application because there is no better alternative, right? So for the sake of allowing the feature accessible, they've just let the third parties do what they want to do. But as soon as Apple released their own version of it where they can natively offer those features through Screen Time, they decided to take it off the App Store. And while Congress is arguing that it is to censor apps and to be anti-competitive, Tim Cook is saying otherwise. He's saying that it's actually because the technology that those guys were using in that third-party application was not very safe because it was actually like screencasting your whole thing. So what they're saying is now that there's Screen Time, a more safer and a more native way of doing things, there should not be even a room for access to third-party applications that are unsafe, basically. By the way, we're at 13 likes and 92 unique viewers. If we can, let's try to hit 15 likes and 100 viewers. That's when we're going to wrap up the stream. So come on, guys, let's get there.
Removal seems very coincidental. If Apple wasn't attempting to harm competitors in order to help its own app.
By the way, I know I'm pausing this a lot, but I want to mention this one more time. This is kind of similar to the Unbox Therapy situation when he did a video saying Pataka case was awesome, and then when his own later case came out, then he took down the Pataka case. And while some people say that was being anti-competitive, what he really was doing was, now that there's a better version, there shouldn't be any room for praise of an inferior version. That's why he took down the Pataka case, because he's saying that his later case is better. Similarly, Apple is saying that now that there's a native application that does the job better, there should not even be access for a third-party thing that uses inferior technology.
Why did Phil Schiller, who runs the App Store, promote the Screen Time app to customers who complained about the removal of rival parental control apps?
Obviously, he was guiding them to the proper application.
Congressman,
now.
I can't see this email. I'm sorry, my eyes are not good enough to read it. But I see Screen Time as just an alternative, but there are over 30 parental control apps that are in the App Store today. And so there's
his webcam is so
competition for parental controls out there.
Okay. Well, Mr. Cook, the fact is that Apple sidelined Screen Time's competition by keeping them out of the App Store. And while Apple claims these competitors weren't meeting Apple's privacy standards, these apps creators say that you admitted them back in 6 months later without requiring significant privacy changes. And of course, 6 months is truly an eternity for small businesses to be shut down. Even worse, if all the while a larger competitor is actually taking away customers. And, this is not the first time something like this seems to have happened.
Yo, Mayan Sharma, what is up, man? Thanks for tuning in. That lady, if your kids pay thousands of dollars on apps, thousands, if your kids pay $1,000 on app, you will understand why we need screen time. Oh, I'm back. Awesome, awesome, awesome. True, dude. Like, I think screen time is useful. Like, even I use it. Like, literally, all I have to do is just swipe over, and it goes into my screen time. I can see like how many hours I've spent on my phone and what I've been doing and all that stuff. It's a good overview. It's useful, and it takes away from the fact that now I don't need to install a third party application, which is beneficial in my opinion. All right. 14 likes. Let's go. 96 viewers. Let's go.
Mr. Cook, let me give you another example.
These Congress Karens needs to get some actual education on tech. They really do, man. They really do.
Of the harm that's been caused to your competitors. In 2010, Apple introduced an online bookstore called the iBookstore, where it offered ebooks. And the only major publisher that didn't agree to join iBookstore was Random House. Random House wanted to offer its own ebooks through its own apps and submitted their apps to be added to the App Store. Amidst continued negotiations between Apple and Random House, Senior VP Eddie Q said, and I'm quoting him, I'm quoting him when he said it prevented an app from Random House from going live in the App Store. Q himself cited this app rejection as a factor in finally getting Random House to give in and join iBookstore. Mr. Cook, is it fair for Apple to use its...
Oh, no. When Random House submitted some ebook apps to Apple, blah, blah, blah. Q advised Random House that Apple was only interested in doing an overall deal with Random House. By December, they had begun negotiations, and Random House executed an agency agreement with Apple in mid-January 2011 in an email to Jobs. Oh, this was back in that time, okay. In an email to Jobs, Q attributed Random House's capitulation in part to the fact that I prevented an app from Random House.
Power over the...
Okay. That one's a little sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. Basically, they prevented these guys from creating their own app for iBooks. But once again, I'm gonna side with the tech company, because what if Apple's whole goal was to remove the clustered apps and like the need, like imagine being a user, right? And you're reading books, and let's say you want to read a book from Random House. Now you got to go into a whole different application to read their books. That sounds like an inconvenience. So maybe, just maybe, what Apple wanted to do was they wanted to centralize all their ebooks. So because of that, they basically forced Random House to switch to ebooks instead of iBooks or whatever, instead of their own application. So if you look at it from that way, from a customer or a consumer standpoint, it makes way more sense. It's way more convenient, right? So I get it. Even though Random House is trying to say that, oh, they're just being monopolistic, from a consumer standpoint, it's still beneficial for everything to be centralized into iBooks. The Congress Karen always talks about competition. People like Zuck and Cook are trying to focus on their own companies. These Congress Karens really need to shut up about these competitors. They're really pushing it, a lot of the stuff.
To join Apple.
By the way, we hit 105 unique viewers, so shout out to you guys.
Email, and so I don't know the context of it, but there are many reasons why an app.
Facts. Centralizing all the ebooks would be awesome. Random House are just trying to get clout. I don't know if it's clout that they're trying to chase for, but it's definitely they're just trying to stand out, do what's different. Probably get more money because like now the books are being bought directly, stuff like that. But really, if they're not thinking too much about their consumers, because consumers don't want to have to deal with random apps. Imagine if every publisher said, oh, we don't want to use iBooks and we want to offer our own app, and there's like 100 different publishers. So now every time you want to read a new book, you got to switch apps. That's such a pain, right? So I get what Apple is trying to do.
Through the App Store gate because it may not work properly. There may be other issues with it, so it's
Exactly.
very difficult to see. What I would say though, on a macro basis, the gate to the App Store is very wide. We have 1.7 million apps in it. It's become an economic miracle with over $138 billion of commerce just in the
Mr.
United
Cook,
States.
I really appreciate that sentiment.
They just want the CEO to accept whatever their investigation shows and give him no time to justify or to disagree with the accusations of the company's actions. Exactly, man. Like this guy's trying to answer, and look at her interrupting. Watch.
$1 billion of commerce just in the
Mr.
United
Cook,
States.
He's trying to talk about how much revenue iBooks has generated and whatnot. I think.
really appreciate that sentiment. But, I want to say to you that Apple
She's
enjoys
rushing him.
enormous power to control which apps can reach consumers. Even some of the largest companies in the country fear your power. Our evidence suggests that your company has used its power to harm your rivals and boost your own business. This is fundamentally unfair. It harms small businesses that rely on.
This is fundamentally unfair.
This is fundamentally unfair. It harms.
Really? Is it though? I think it's convenient to publishers. The fact that they're even getting access to be on Apple devices is already such a benefit for them. No one, like, not a lot of people even read physical books. So the fact that Apple or any other tech company is even offering them the platform to be on, to be accessible through ebooks is already a benefit. It's not fundamentally unfair, as what she says. React to Joe Rogan's video game video? Should I? I think I'll talk about that in another video because this video is already over 1 hour. I might do that tomorrow, but thank you, Cyber Tiger, for that. That's actually a very good idea.
Harms small businesses that rely on you to reach customers. It stifles the innovation that is the lifeblood of our economy. Ultimately, it reduces the competition.
Rakesh is like, your voice is soothing, man. I never want your stream to end. You think so? I think it's the mic. Whenever I watch streams, I feel the same way. And usually, the higher the quality of the mic, the more soothing it sounds. Like if you guys have watched Mr. Who's the Boss's videos in general, like he has like high quality mics and all, and his voice and his accent especially sound super soothing to listen to.
And choices that are made available to consumers, and that is a great concern to all of us. And I yield back.
Generally, yields.
At least she was respectful. Like, notice how she didn't push the mic away?
That is a great concern to all of us, and I yield back.
Generally, yields because many of my colleagues would like to get more fulsome answers on a number of issues.
Yeah, she was respectful. The other lady was like, oh, I yield my question. I yield my statement. Like, some of these Congress people are actually disrespectful. Like, I feel like some of them are kind of salty almost that these companies exist and these people are actually trying to do something, and they so badly want to villainify them. And it's cringy. It's really cringy. Like some of these statements, like to me, what if they just bring up the scenario, for example, the iBook scenario, and what's stopping them from talking about the good and the bad? Why can't they mention like, oh, we're appreciative of the fact that like, you're bringing out a platform, you're giving them access to sell books now when books are on a decline or traditional books are on a decline, you're actually helping them survive and sustain. Nah, but that's not what they want to talk about. What they want to talk about is, oh, you decided to create an iBooks? That's bad because now these guys are forced into your deal. And if they don't, get into your deal, they're going to be, declined from the App Store. Of course they're going to be declined from the App Store because they're refusing to work with Apple and every single other company. Like Random House is literally the black sheep that is the only publisher that is disagreeing with iBooks. They deserve to be declined from the App Store. They shouldn't be ignorant. Why are they ignorant? Unless there's some valid reason why they don't want to work with Apple, I don't know. It makes no sense. Pranzi plays. What if the lady was the one who put the mic? What if that lady was the one who put the mic down? Wait, is it? Was that the lady who put the mic down?
Some
No,
answers.
it was the other lady. I think so. I can't remember. All right, so we took a look at it. Right, we got 16 likes. We got 112 unique viewers. I'm impressed. We got 9 concurrent viewers. Shout out to everyone. Well, we watched what do you call? We watched Sundar. Well, we first watched Jeff Bezos. Then we watched Sundar Pichai. We watched Mark Zuckerberg, and then we watched the great Tim Cook on what he has to say. Let me break this down. So let me switch the view real quick. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest for a second. Do you guys truly think that these companies are bad? Like, do you truly think that they are monopolistic and that they want to destroy every other business that comes in their way? Because I don't think that is essentially the case. I think they're like any other business. Every business wants to obviously win, right? And if your win is creates a byproduct of other okay, let me just state this, right? So there's market share, right? There's market share for everything. And a lot of the times you can't create more market share. What you can do is you can acquire market share that already pre-exists. So for them, if there's I guess a small, quote unquote small company that is taking up 25% of market share and Apple owns maybe let's say 40%, is it wrong that they try to acquire 10 more percent? And what through their acquisition, obviously, someone is going to lose some money, right? Or someone is going to lose some share of the market. Is it wrong? I feel like it's just standard business practice. Like at the end of the day, you're a small business, so you have to admit to the fact that you're competing with large corporations, whether you like it or not. So it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But does that mean that they should pamper you? That they should go easy on you? I don't think so. I think that these companies have worked really hard to build up the reputation and the resources that they have right now so that they can afford to take risks and they can afford to make bold movements and actually grow the way they grow and aggressively negotiate and things like that. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's evil for them to do that. But that's my opinion, and I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of people that agree with Congress and who think that it's very monopolistic and that it's wrong and that it shouldn't be done. I think it's part of fair use. Pranzi Plus says make a gaming video one day. I might do that. They he also says they weren't meant to be bad, so no, they are not. Exactly. Crash says I don't think so. Exactly. I don't think any of us necessarily thinks they're bad. Obviously, they've done some wrong things. Obviously, they've bended the rules a little bit in their favor. But if I was in the same position, and if I was the owner of a platform, okay, if I owned a platform and there are other competitors on it, and I was also another competitor on it, right? Obviously, I would favor myself because I'm the owner of the platform. Isn't that understandable? Like if you own the platform and you're competing on it, why not give yourself a little edge? Because like there's no rule that says that you have to be equal. It's not a government. These guys are not a government. They don't have to treat everyone equally. They don't have to do that. They can favor themselves. Prakash says, I don't think these tech giants are being monopolistic. Yeah, I don't think they're trying to be monopolistic, but they come off as being monopolistic just because of how fast they grow. Like for example, some of the fastest growing companies in the world, right? Hold on. If I search up did Google become a $1 trillion company? Okay, maybe we can see 2020. No, this is not. It's not. This is not the one. I want to see exactly like which company is most likely to reach 1 trillion next. So Alphabet closed this week with a value over $1 trillion. So right off the bat, we know Google is worth basically $1 trillion, 1 trillion, which is crazy. Okay, and then making it the fourth member of the $1 trillion club, along with Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. There we go. So we got Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. Let's rephrase that. Let's say Tim Cook, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Google. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Is it not obvious? Tech companies are the biggest. Tech companies grow the fastest. That's just the way it is. We're going into a digital world in the future. So if these guys are finding success, the group is likely to remain exclusive for a while. There's no obvious fifth candidate among US companies. Facebook is next in line, but the social giant has a long way to go. So Facebook right now is only 665 billion. I'm curious to find out why Microsoft was not brought up. Cyber Tiger's like, why'd you go incognito? Because I find it safe, I guess. Because what if I'm signed in on anything that I don't want you guys to see, right? Satya Nadella, this guy is he's the CEO of Microsoft, and that's a $1 trillion company. Why wasn't he brought up to face the Congress questions on what do you call anti-competition and censorship and whatnot? By the way, we're at 121 playbacks by individual unique viewers. We have 8 concurrent viewers right now and 17 likes. Can we hit 20 likes, guys? If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and drop a like. That means so much. And yeah, it's his privacy and we have no right to see that. It's not even that serious. It's just that I wouldn't want to be signed in. And I also want to get neutral results, because if I search something up, for example, on YouTube, it's going to be catered to what I would want to see. But when I'm looking at results, I want to see it from a neutral standpoint. Fair just seemed a bit odd. I see. That makes sense. So yeah, basically that's about it, guys. There's not much more for me to talk about. I'm just confused why he wasn't brought up on stage. And I've already told you guys, I don't think they're exactly monopolistic in the way that the Congress is portraying them as. I think they definitely have a lot of power, and some of it has been abused in certain scenarios. But a lot of the cases or scenarios that they brought up were very, very ignorant. Like the screen time one with the parent and whatnot, that one was just stupid. Because any app that has access to your screen is already an invasion and risk of privacy. So it's awesome that Apple was able to do it natively and get rid of third-party access, right? And I would never, ever want a third-party company accessing my personal screen cast. I would not want that. Yeah. Anyways, waiting for the next Congress session to ask them the exact same questions again. LOL. Exactly, man. We're gonna revisit this in 2021 around the same time, and they're gonna ask the same questions, and this is gonna go on forever. And companies are gonna try to obviously adapt and change to the requirements of Congress, but they're never gonna be happy. As long as these companies stay as the top biggest companies in market capitalization, I guess, they're gonna be questioned like this. I feel like whichever company enters the $1 trillion mark, they're going to be villainified and they're going to be villainized and they're going to be looked at as evil tech giants. But hey, we're tech enthusiasts, and we're glad and we're appreciative and we're happy that tech companies are the biggest companies in the world. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up the stream. We have 17 likes, 9 live viewers, and 122 unique viewers. 124 now unique viewers, and the average watch time is actually 4 minutes and 39 seconds, which is one of my highest ever. So, we're at 18 likes. Oh my god, you guys are so awesome. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna wrap the stream because there's not a lot for me to talk about anymore. I've been live for over an hour now. I want to thank every single one of you guys that tuned in. That means so much. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I've already recorded it. I've already made the thumbnail and the tags and title and everything. and it's already scheduled to go live tomorrow at 12 p.m. We just hit 20 likes, guys, with 125 live. What do you call? Hold on, I'm gonna change my screen. With 125 unique viewers. Thank you so much. 21 likes. Oh my god, you guys are crazy. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A video is scheduled to go live tomorrow, and I'm gonna be posting daily for the next 30 days. And I'm gonna figure out when I can stream as well. Procrast, see you later, man. Thank you. Good night. Mr. Unknown says goodbye. Bye, man. Seog Slot, thank you so much, Seog, for tuning in. All right, guys, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.